Ever stop to think how much those little impulse buys on your phone are adding up to, and how many subscription payments are sneaking out of your bank account every single month? Before I started using Rocket Money, let me tell you, I had no idea. But the first time I logged in, I saved $435. I couldn't believe it. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I just love the dashboard. It shows everything in one place, even the subscriptions you forgot you signed up for. And if there's something you don't need, Rocket Money helps you cancel it. Plus, it alerts you if a bill increases or if something unusual pops up in your account. It's basically like having a personal assistant for your money. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Kim today. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim.
Welcome to the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of July 29th, 2023. Thank you for being a community member. Here's hour one.
Let's kick things off with something super interesting. Now, of course, Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse, we know that's dead. But that doesn't mean that Facebook is. Wow. Okay, there are 7 billion people in the world. So how many of those people are on Facebook? 7 billion people in the world. How many are on Facebook? Anyone care to guess? Okay, I'll tell you the answer. 3 billion. 3 billion people on Facebook. They just broke their record. And they say it might be because of Reels. That's the TikTok lookalike feature that's on your feed. Facebook Reels, they get over 200 billion plays every single day. Wow. And of course, speaking of billions, Mark Zuckerberg, his net worth is $104.4 billion. Could you imagine? I don't even know what the interest every day on that would be. Elon Musk is at $240 billion. Bill Gates, $121 billion. I'll tell you. When you start thinking about it, most billionaires are really just rounded up millionaires. That's right. The haves and the have yachts. Get it? Oh, yes. And on that happy note, you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. I'm, of course, Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you. It's the biggest show. It's the most trusted show about all things digital. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. And you can also get us as a podcast, as a webcast commercial-free, over at Komando.com. Just go ahead and click that big yellow button that says Komando Community. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. service members, serving in 175 different countries and 200 ships at sea. Get the Kim Komando Show. And I know that you have a few questions about something digital I can lend a hand to, and that's why our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open for you. It's at 1-888-825-5254. Every single day, I check out 30 different websites to make sure that you're up to date on everything that's going on in the techverse, and here are 5 things that you need to know right now. We're going to start at number 1, and maybe you'll hear some biblical and other prophecies in the story, but for now, just take it for what it is. Sam Altman, he's the founder of ChatGPT, and he has big plans to bring in a worldwide ID system, whether we want it or not. He owns another company called WorldCoin, and they want to invent a global electronic money system where everyone on the planet would buy and sell, well, everything. It'd be like a global currencies. And without it, you couldn't do business. But to operate such a system, first you have to identify everyone who would use it. Yeah, I'm talking about the entire global population. So follow me on this. WorldCoin envisions scanning everyone's iris because no two irises are alike. So we're talking about non-alterable global identity verification, proving that you're really human to unmask all the aliases and the internet bots. So you'd think that this kind of story would make like major news, but for some reason it's not. Now, to entice everybody to sign up, right now if you do, you get for free 25 world tokens. But again, you have to give up that iris. All right, number 2, this is a great report from the Sunday Times. The gal's name is Angelina and Masha. These are fake names, and they work for a Ukrainian risk assessment firm. Now, their job descriptions have taken a pretty dramatic turn since Putin launched that invasion. So instead of running the typical risk assessments, these girls are now being called digital honey trappers. Angelina and Masha, they sweet talk Russian soldiers. Okay, these are men that they deeply despise on dating apps in areas all along the occupied border. They use AI-generated photos of these really beautiful women and turn to gain valuable intelligence. Now, Angelina says she spends 2 hours every single day teasing and flirting with Russian soldiers online. And sure, she said, they ramble on about women's underwear, but it gets a little darker. They send videos and pictures of captured countrymen, even dead bodies. But in all of this, sometimes these women get little nuggets of valuable information, a photo of a military passport, a location of Russian troops, stuff that's really, truly useful. The wild part is some of these soldiers are completely falling for it, and they're pledging their undying love and proposing marriage. Wow. Remember back in World War II, they had a saying, loose lips sink ships. Yeah, even happens here. Moving on to number 3, the AI lawsuits are rolling in. Have you ever found yourself visiting your doctor for a medical treatment or procedure, and then they come back and say, sorry, insurance isn't covering that? Well, a lawsuit has been filed claiming that healthcare giant Cigna has been using AI to just outright deny claims systematically. Apparently, they denied over 300,000 claims in the last year, and their AI spent, wow, this is just a crazy number, barely 1.2 seconds reviewing each claim. 1.2 seconds, that's it. Now, one case involves a woman from California, Suzanne Kissling-Leung, and she has Cigna insurance, and her doctor told her that she needed an ultrasound due to concerns about ovarian cancer. Sure enough, they found a cyst on her left ovary. But what does Cigna do? They denied her claim for both the ultrasound and a follow-up procedure, saying it wasn't necessary, so she got stuck with the bill. So if you've been denied, resubmit your claim. And if Cigna is using AI to evaluate claims, okay, you know, all the other insurance companies are doing the same thing. I recently had a claim denied for my annual physical and all my blood work. It was a $1,200 hit. But here's the deal. I resubmitted the claim, and now I only owe like $50. So if you've been denied, just resubmit that claim, because I think AI has been getting involved in all of this. All right, moving on to number 4, we the people. Okay, we all know that AI did not write the Constitution, but AI ChatGPT says that we did. So you might be wondering, like, what's going on with that? It's called generative AI. That means that AI is being trained on text like the Bible or the Constitution or Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn. And for good reason. These books, essays, are foundational works, so they say. They use the language data that they get from these works to in turn churn out text like them when prompted. So when any of these works are thrown to an AI checker, they think that AI wrote it. So no, ChatGPT, you're not as good a writer as James Madison, even though you want to. And finally, this coming in at number 5. Oh my gosh, I could not believe this. There's a trend on TikTok where people are suffering from an ailment that they call time blindness. Now, this one gal, she posted this teary-eyed video about just saying, oh, the people at my job, they hate me because I need accommodations because I can't show up to work on time. 4 million people viewed this. Now, doctors say this isn't necessarily a case. Doctors say that time blindness is a real problem for people with ADHD because they often forget the time, lose track of time, underestimate how much time it takes for any given task. Okay, I get that if you have ADHD, being late may not be intentional, but there is some cool tech to help out. If you have a smart speaker like Alexa or Google Home, you can set easy audio reminders to check for stuff and set timers and reminders. There's a new web browser called Sidekick. It limits distractions. And you know what? Just set an alarm. It's just crazy. Speaking of, what did the guy who got fired for always being late say? What did he say? It was just a matter of time. Oh, yeah. Okay, why is printer ink so expensive? I mean, it really doesn't have to be. I mean, what is it? It's colored water, right? Well, turns out Americans are dropping $10 billion a year, wow, on name brand ink when we could be refilling it for a lot less. This is not a new concept, but I have to tell you, I read this great report by Jeffrey Fowler. He's the tech columnist over at the Washington Post. And I was like, oh my gosh, we totally need to get him on the show to talk about this because he needed to switch out his tiny HP cartridges and the damage, well, about $125. But here's the thing. insider folks told him it only cost around $2 to make those cartridges. So Jeff decided to play around with some alternatives, and he laid it all out in this recent Washington Post article. And he tried everything from the aftermarket cartridges to refillable ink bottles, everything. He rolled up his sleeves and he tried making his own ink at home. Wow. Talk about really getting involved in a story. So, Jeff, thanks for being here. And tell me from the onset, why did you decide to really go all in on printer ink?
First of all, when I listen to Washington Post readers, and I'm sure when you listen to listeners to your shows, rage about printers tops the list of Americans' frustrations with their technology, right? You know, we have sent people to the moon, and yet it seems like we cannot make a printer that doesn't make people angry and doesn't make people feel like being ripped off by these companies. And the number one thing that goes wrong with people's printers is that they constantly need ink, and the ink is constantly super expensive. And I wanted to understand, why is that? And, you know, is it really even necessary? Do we really even have to be spending all of this money? So I did it the way I always do. My reporting is I got my hands dirty, and I said, well, let's go inside and figure it out.
You know, the thing that always irritates me is that when the printer says it needs to calibrate the cartridges, and then it just spits out like $10 worth of ink on this page, right? You're like, what's going on?
Yeah, it turns out almost everything about the way that these big printer companies are making and selling ink is a scam. Everything from them not really telling you how much ink is left in the cartridge, just telling you, oh, it might be low, you should change it, not telling you how much ink is in the cartridge when you first buy it, or even just causing them to sort of waste ink constantly by calibrating or trying to clean the printer heads or whatever it might be. There's been all kinds of fascinating research that's gone into how much they get you to waste ink just so you'll buy some more.
So tell me about your tests that you did.
Yeah. So, you know, again, the printer companies make you think like, oh, gosh, there's only one way you can get ink for your printer, and that's to buy it from them. But as you said, that's crazy expensive. Just for my printer, which is like a pretty standard HP OfficeJet, it would have been over $120 just to replace the ink. So I said, well, I want to see if the alternatives are any good. So I tried them. So I tried buying aftermarket ink from a company that takes existing old cartridges and refills them. And I tried going online and buying some of these bottles that you can get that come with little hypodermic needles that you can then try to inject the ink. And then someone had mentioned to me, some people, there are recipes online for making your own ink. So I was like, okay, I'll give that a try. It sort of like felt very 19th century, but let's give it a go. So I even tried that. My big takeaway was you absolutely do not have to spend for that really expensive name brand ink. When you look at the samples of the tests that we ran, and I've got on the story on the Washington Post, I've got sort of zoomed in views so you can see. I challenge anybody to tell the difference between the full price name brand ink and some of the other ones. There really is very, very, very little difference. And yet you can save half or more by going with one of these other routes.
Did you run into a situation where HP said to you, we're sorry, Jeffrey, this is not an authentic cartridge, so you're not allowed to use this in your printer?
Yeah, so you hit the number one annoyance here. So, HP and these other companies have, in the last couple of years, started embedding microchips in those little cartridges. And they have those in there. They claim to sort of protect the security of your printer, but that's not really why they're doing it. They're doing it because they want to watch what you're printing and what you're using to print. So yeah, if they notice that there's a chip in there that isn't one of their officially, licensed ones, they might try to, at minimum, throw up a little warning message that makes it seem like, oh no, you're doing something naughty. Or at worst, make it seem like your entire printer is going to break. And in fact, that happened to me during one of my tests. I put in one of these off-brand cartridges, and I got the blue screen of death on the printer for a moment. No. But then I unplugged it and then plugged it back in, and it all worked fine.
So when you go through all of this, how much money are you saving at the end of the day?
For the sort of remanufactured ones, so those are cartridges that are sort of refilled from existing things, you save about 50%. And that's a lot of money. That's $60 on my printer.
Right. That is a lot of money. And it doesn't take a lot to fill up the cartridges. What, 5-10 minutes? Is that it? Or is it longer?
So if you buy the ready-made cartridges, they're already filled. They come to you ready to go. You just take off the seal and pop them in. If you want to try the hand-filling route, we tried that as well. You could save even more money just buy these sort of big tanks of ink. I have to say, in our tests, the prints also looked great from those. It did require a little bit more steely nerve because you're there with a hypodermic needle and you're trying to jam in ink into one of these cartridges. And these cartridges these days have been designed to make that process a little bit difficult, and you have to press pretty hard. We did have it in one case where we didn't do it quite right, and some of the black ink did ooze out onto the page when we tried to print. So that approach could involve a little more hassle, but you know what? If you print a lot, it could save you a lot of money.
Jeffrey, thank you so much for being here. Folks, if you want to read his piece, it's over at thewashingtonpost.com. All right, let's switch gears just a little bit and let's talk about your iPad, because here's the deal. Apple's going to be coming out with some new iPads in September. They always do. And why? Well, just in time for the gift-giving season. So you might have an old iPad laying around and wondering what to do with it. Well, first of all, you can turn it into an e-reader. And unless that iPad is just super old, you can just load up the Kindle app, Goodreads, or my favorite app is called Libby. And this lets you get free digital books from your local library. And if you've missed reading the comics because you no longer get a newspaper, you want to put that app Chunky on the iPad too. Now you can also use an older iPad as a universal remote control for your home television setup. Just add the apps for your streaming media favorites like Netflix, Hulu, Roku, all the others. Just works great. You can also use that old iPad as a digital photo frame, a home security camera, or what you could do is just mount it in the car for the kids in the back seat to watch. Oh, and by the way, if we have cat lovers in the crowd, just add the app Frisky's Jitterbug. Oh my gosh, that cat is going to go simply bonkers. Let's talk about file types, because your life is on your computer, right? Your photos, your work, your passwords. And that's why you never want to risk clicking an attachment from an unsolicited email. And here's the scoop on some trends. You need to know the file types that scammers are using. Okay. Of course, we have Excel and Word. They're not the top culprits anymore. Okay. According to research, 54% of malware attacks are using an archive file format like zip and rar. And these have outpaced anything Windows because we've all gotten so smart. I mean, we know if it's like a Google doc or a Word doc or an Excel sheet, we know that, hey, that might be malware. So before you click on an email attachment, I want you to stop and think and don't click that link. Even if it's from somebody you know, it could be something really nasty that you're going to get on your computer. And then you're going to have to call me and say, Kim, help me. I downloaded it and I clicked on something and now everything's all haywire. Oh, I hate those calls. All right, back to the calls we go with Heidi in Tucson, Arizona.
I run a business, and I was looking to do a podcast to kind of help promote my business, but I have no idea how to do that, and I'm kind of way behind technology-wise, and I was wondering if there was an easy way for a beginner to do this that wasn't too complicated.
All right, what kind of business do you have, Heidi?
Well, I'm in the alternative health field. We do energy scanning of the body's energy field, and so I have clients from all over the country utilize my services. So,
awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, so
That's great.
So I guess podcasts can reach people anywhere, anytime.
Well, here's the thing let me tell you the downsides of podcasts. Just to give you the lowdown, okay, the skinny about all this. There are probably 2 million podcasts on each platform. When we start talking about platforms, talking about Google Play, you've got Apple Podcasts, and then, of course, you've got Spotify, Pandora, and all those other ones, right? But let's just say we have 2 million podcasts. The problem with podcasting is that there's a lot of choices, okay? But the good news for you is that you're very specialized. And so if you have a specialized podcast, you have a chance to getting to the top and getting some listeners. All right. So if you were just talking to me about alternative health and supplements, I'd be like, I don't know about that, Heidi. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if that's going to be, because you're going to have a lot of competition out there. The other thing about podcasts is that it is a commitment, Heidi, is that you have to do a podcast every single week. Now, I've talked to a lot of people, high-profile people. One person, if I said their name, you'd be like, oh, they own a winery, because that's what they do. And they were befuddled that I said that you'd have to do this on a regular basis. They thought they could do a podcast once every 6 months. You have to do this every single week, or else you don't get the traction that you want, because then the podcast algorithms say, oh, Heidi did this one podcast. She hasn't come back in 8 months, so why am I going to promote this podcast? Make sense?
Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
So in order to get into podcasting, you need a desktop, laptop, whatever. You can record it on your phone, but you really want to get a good, solid microphone. We'll send you a link to one. Then you need also tools to record and edit the software. And that's where you're talking about Audacity or Pro Tools. And then you need a platform that will get you into all of the podcast networks and services. And that's where you're going to use a service like Podbean. And so they were going to distribute your podcast after you get it all done. And then, of course, you're not going to use any copyrighted music, because then you're going to get banned. And it's always a good idea to plan out topics. And you have a little bit of an outline that you can follow, so that this way, if you have any guests, you know how long they're going to be talking, what they're going to be talking about. Your podcast length should be at least 30 minutes. You can do shorter daily podcasts, but for your topic, I'd say probably between 30 and 40 minutes would be a nice sweet spot for you. Have you thought about doing email marketing?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I'm in the process of trying to find a reliable company to help me out with that.
Okay, so I would start, instead of a podcast, there's more bang for the buck with email marketing. And there you can use a service like MailChimp or Constant Contact. And that's how for example, you could send out a weekly emailer about, maybe some new thing that you discovered, some fun thing, and maybe you're offering a special, or maybe you're not, and maybe this is a link to your online calendar so people can book their own appointments. And so with email marketing, it seems to be more of an effective tool, because it goes right to their inbox, because you have their email address. See, with a podcast, people have to search you out. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. What I want you to do is to augment this as part of an entire marketing plan. So you're going to have your social media under control. You're going to have a YouTube channel with some videos on there. You're going to have email marketing ready to go. And then I would say, let's do the podcast, because there's just too many podcasts out there, and it's very, it's just really controlled chaos right now in the podcast marketplace because of all the different varieties. Now, I never want to discourage an entrepreneur. If you want to do it, that's great, but just make sure you have everything else all sewn up, so that this way you can tell your existing network about your podcast, so that they can go listen to it, and then they can tell all their family members and friends. We'll send you a link, Heidi, so hang on the line with us, to a microphone that I like. And thank you for your call. And keep me posted on your success. I just know you're going to do great. Now, of course, this begs the question, how much can you make having your own podcast? Well, for this, we have to do a little math, and I've got to pass along some terms. It's called CPM. You know what CPM stands for? Cost per thousand. So commercials are based on cost per thousand, and you normally have no more than 3 commercial breaks within a podcast. So how much is a CPM? Well, let me tell you, it just ranges from $1 to maybe even $100. It depends on the host. So again, somebody's going to pay $1 to reach 1,000 or $100 to reach 1,000 people. Now, in case you're wondering how to do the math, just go ahead and Google search CPM calculator online, or use ChatGPT and say, what is the CPM, or how much do I charge? If the CPM's $10 or $25, it just makes the life easier. But generally speaking, and I hate to use the word generally speaking, but a podcaster with around 10,000 downloads per episode can expect to earn somewhere between, and it's a big range, between $500 and $1,200. Again, because it depends upon the CPM, it depends upon your specialty, how many commercial breaks. So just think about $500 to $1,200. All right, I've been using iOS 17 for about a month now. And in case you want to try it before it gets officially released in the fall, just head over to beta.apple.com. Once again, that's beta.apple.com. It's been pretty stable. I haven't had too many issues. Well, sometimes the screen looks a little wonky, and a few times it didn't want to connect to Apple CarPlay, but it seems to have kind of leveled out. Once again, that's beta.apple.com. But here are some highlights in case you want to check it out and maybe just a sneak peek of what's to come. Like with iOS 17, you know all those symbols, those warning lights on your car's dash? Yeah. Now you can actually take a picture of it, and it will identify it and tell you exactly what you need to do. It also works on like symbols that you have as far as like being able to wash certain things and if they are dry clean only. So anytime you have a symbol, now iOS 17 is going to help you. Okay, cropping photos. You no longer have to tap a couple of buttons to crop a photo. Basically, all you do is you just have that photo and you do that 2-finger pinch and you zoom in and then, a crop button appears and you're like, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, also coming are what's called interactive widgets. Like, say, for example, that you're going to be cooking a souffle, or maybe you're making lemon chicken or potatoes, whatever it might be. And so now you can have that recipe right on your phone, and you can have the phone closed, and then you just tap the recipe icon, and then it will show you each step along the way. You can also listen to articles instead of reading them. Listen to page is now going to be right built into Safari. So in case you want your phone to read something to you on screen, you've got that. You can also easily share your passwords with all the folks in your family on your keychain. This is really handy. Of course, we know that we've always been able to ping your phone when you lose your phone. But what if you lose your watch? Yes, thank you, because that happens to me way too many times. Is now you can ping your watch and find out where your watch is located. You can also automatically delete all those one-time passcodes. And this is also really super handy. You know how like when you look at a URL in Safari and it's not just the web address, but it has all this tracking information behind it? Well, now Safari will automatically delete those trackers from those addresses when you share them, which is really super handy. All right, Laureen in Minneapolis.
My mom is 75 years old. Real quick backstory.
Okay.
My parents were born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. We've lived in Minnesota now for 40 years. My parents made the trip back and forth from Minnesota to Ohio multiple times together. However, now my father passed away about a year ago, and my 75-year-old mother is bound and determined to drive to Cleveland, Ohio, all by herself. She is of sound mind and body, and she's just fine driving. However, she gets sometimes confused by technology and her GPS, and then she gets flustered. So she asked me if there was a way I could track her while she's on this trip.
Okay.
So,
all right. What kind of devices do you have?
She has a Samsung A20, and I have a Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus.
Okay. Okay. I can give you the steps on how to use Google Find My Device. Okay. I'm not going to go through all that on the phone with you because it gets like boring for everybody for me to say go to android.com/find, all that other stuff. Okay.
Okay.
But what I want to do is I want to talk to you about not just Find My Device. I want to talk about if this were my mom, what I would do.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Okay, of course I would turn on Find My Device, and that's a given. And I wish I could tell you that there were 3 other apps that did the same thing, but there are not 3 other apps. There's only one that does everything that I'm about to tell you, and it's called Life 360.
Okay. I was going to ask about that. Okay. That's the only one I've heard of.
Yes. So Life 360, it has crash detection. Not saying she's going to get in an accident, but if she does, I would want to know automatically. Okay. Mm-hmm. It also has roadside assistance. So if she has car trouble, that guess what? You get 5 miles of free towing or 50 miles of free towing, but then she can just hit a button on her phone and then it will call a tow truck. Okay. Like that.
Yeah.
There's also where you could see where she's been and you can see how fast she's going, how slow she's going, where she has stopped.
Okay.
Okay. You could do a geofence that says if she goes off of this highway, I need to know.
Oh,
okay. So
love that.
So there are all these other great things other than just I can go on my phone and say, oh, great, she made it to Canton, Ohio. That sounds like, okay, that's what, so, or she's stuck, or she calls you, I'm stuck. I got a flat tire, and she sounds like she's super independent, and I can tell you are too. And the way that I would pitch this to my mother is I'd say, for how many years have you worried about me? How many years has she worried about you? Your whole life, right?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
So now you're starting to worry about her a little bit. Not that you haven't before, but she's so accustomed to making this trip with your dad, that this trip is going to be an emotional event for her.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Okay. And that's the way I would sell it to her.
Well, the funny thing is she actually is the one who asked me if there was a way I could track her.
Oh.
So, I don't think
well,
I need
that's
to sell
easy.
It. Yes.
Okay, good. Then you know what?
Question.
Then just tell her to do that.
Okay, I do have one question.
You know what? That's easier.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I do have one question, however. I love my mother, but I also don't need her to know where I am at 24/7. So with this app, is it possible to do that where I can track her, but she doesn't know where I'm going?
Oh, you can turn off your own tracking.
Okay,
you can do that.
All right.
You can do that. Because I know that gets a little, sometimes it gets to be a little much. You know what I mean?
I'm at home 24/7. I don't care. She doesn't need to know.
It's like, go do something, go out, whatever it may be. So Live 360, and I'm glad that she's on board, because so often I take these phone calls and the older adult isn't, and then we've got to convince them. And let me know how it works out, Lorraine. Always appreciate some feedback. Think about your heirlooms in your family. Maybe it's your grandfather's old rifle, your mother's wedding dress, all those precious photos, and they hold stories, and you want to preserve them for generations. But how do you do this? Okay, there are several ways to protect and document your family treasures, but the right app makes it a lot easier to use. One option is called Thingyology. Yeah, I know, I didn't name it. It's a digital inventory system, and what you do is you capture images of your family heirlooms, like your father's old pipe, along with a description and the story behind each item. That's where it becomes super handy. Now, for organizing and managing archival photographs, that's when you want to use Tropy. This is free software that was developed by George Mason University. It lets you add the metadata, tags, annotations to your images. This way, they're easily searchable and well organized. So for everybody who's ever called me and said, I want to have all of my photos digitally, and I want to be able to look up a picture of grandma making dandelion wine, and I want to tell the story behind the wine and where it came to be, that's the program for you. Once again, Thingyology, that's the inventory system. So maybe if you have various collections of, say, golf clubs, Yadros, stamps, whatever it may be, that's where you want to use that program. And if it's going to be photos, you want to use Tropy. And in case you missed those, we have them over at commando.com. Just search for, heirlooms, and I'm sure this tip is going to pop up for you. And speaking of, what do you call an heirloom vape pen? What do you call an heirloom vape pen? You ready? A family jewel. Ho, ho, ho. Hey, do me a solid. Tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show. You can find me at commando.com. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim.
Thank you for listening. Here is Hour 2.
All right, let's kick things off with something super interesting. It's a great story from the Wall Street Journal. If you can find a meteorite over the size of 1 kilogram, the Maine Mineral and Gem Museum will hand over $25,000 for one. Yes, I know. There are people who are willing to do just that full time. They're called meteorite hunters. Okay, it's not easy. Take Roberto Vargas from Connecticut. He got an alert that a meteorite exploded over Junction City, Georgia. He just booked a flight, went straight there within hours. He made it. He got a rental car, went to the parking lot where the meteorite crashed. He found a piece. Some of it sold for $100 a gram. Oh my gosh, $100 a gram. So much so that he quit his job as a full-time therapist. So if you're looking for something unusual to do, you can become a meteorite hunter. Who knew? All right, speaking of, if you know a scientist, here's a good question to stump them. Speaking of meteorites, how come meteorites always land in the middle of a crater? How come? They'll look at you like going, what planet did you come from? And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm America's digital goddess, Kim Komando, here with you once again. And sit back, enjoy the ride, because you're about to get more tech smarts, because every single thing is now a tech thing. And if you're a new listener, welcome. Glad to have you with us. And if you're already a listener, welcome back. Happy to see your smiling face. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. And you can get us as a podcast, as a webcast, commercial-free over at Komando.com. Just hit that big old yellow button that says Komando Community. And a special shout-out goes to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving over 375,000 American servicemen and women in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Space Force, and the Coast Guard in 175 different countries. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too shy to come on a big-time radio show and podcast, I get that. I still want to hear from you. At Komando.com, just hit the link in the upper right-hand corner that says Email Kim. Every single day, I go to at least 30 different websites to make sure that we're both up to date on everything digital. And here are the top 5 things you need to know right now. We're going to start with iOS 17, set to roll out this fall. And it's loaded with some pretty impressive features. And I'll tell you, I'm loving it. One of the features that sticks out is a real-time voicemail feature. It's like an old-school answering machine. Do you remember that? Where you would listen to your voicemails as they're being recorded and then decide whether or not you wanted to pick up the call? Yeah, that's happening right now on iOS 17. Some other cool stuff, when you don't have a cell signal, you can now download offline maps and still get to your destination in Apple Maps. I know what you're saying. Google has had this since 2015. Sometimes it takes Apple a while to catch up. You can also now leave voicemails in FaceTime. They're going to show up directly in your call history. But here's the catch. iOS 17 will only be compatible with iPhones starting from the 10S model and up. That means those of you with an iPhone 8 to an iPhone 10, I hate to break it with you, but you're only going to be getting security updates from here on out. So my advice, sell that phone sooner than later. Your iPhone 8 and 10 will lose about 50% of the value when iOS 17 hits big time in September. So if you can, sell it now. And speaking of phones, let's move on to number 2. Samsung Galaxy Unpacked just went down in Seoul, South Korea. And all this new tech will drop in August. Flip phones are in. The Galaxy Z Flip 5, that's their clamshell-style flip phone, got a big upgrade over last year's. The 3.4-inch screen on the front row looks a lot like the Razr Plus from Motorola. Now, you can use it to scroll through widgets, reply to messages, get a sneak peek of a pic you're taking. I had $1,000, though it's pretty pricey. Foldable phones were big. The Galaxy Z Fold 5 opens up like a book. There's not too much difference here from its predecessor, but it does have I guess you'd say, a narrower exterior screen. It is, they say, 30% brighter inside and has a slimmed-down stylus. Okay, foldable phones, I just don't think that they're here right now for prime time. And this one, wow, $1,800. Now, they also have the Galaxy Enhance X app. Okay, this is kind of cool. You can use it to enhance old photos and correct distorted photos, which kind of works like the Google photo scan. But anyway, that's all I really saw that was interesting at the whole Galaxy Unpacked event in Seoul, South Korea. No, I did not go to Seoul, South Korea. I just watched it online like everybody else. Number 3, look out for some new emojis. What's your favorite emoji? I'll tell you the one that I've been using a lot is the emoji for the superhero and also the salute. Just love the salute emoji. So some good news for emoji lovers. Over 118 new emojis are expected to roll out. Emojipedia, yeah, there is such a place. They say that they're the absolute authority on emojis. Get ready for some new emojis like the mythical phoenix, a wild brown mushroom. Okay, not sure when I'd use that. A broken chain, a lime wedge. Okay, that could be useful on Margarita Mondays. Also, gender-neutral family emojis, some silhouettes, and some other things are going to be popping out. All right, moving on to number 4. It's about time. Yeah, last week, over 345,000 children's cups from Cupkin sold on Amazon were recalled because they contain, dangerous amounts of lead. Wow. Every single day, I just seem to spot a new recall online for these big-name companies. But what about the small companies? A lot of what we buy on Amazon aren't from the big-name sellers, right? Often these products are just coming straight from China, from companies no one's ever heard of. So Amazon has a brand new feature that I want to tell you about. If you go to Amazon and then look under your account, under your orders, you're going to see a new page that's called Your Recalls and Product Safety Alerts. Okay, you ought to check that. Once again, it's under your orders called Your Recalls and Product Safety Alerts. Here you're going to see a lot of details about recalls for any of the products that you purchased on Amazon. And also, they're going to tell you about how to get a refund or how to return the items. And once again, that's under Amazon, under your orders. And finally, this coming in at number 5. So this way, you know what's happening online and you are on trend. You are on the mark. Have you ever seen someone that you know personally on social media who looks like they're just living like this luxe life? Even though their job doesn't scream like big spender, they're sipping on champagne, rocking this Instagram-worthy decor, just living their best life. And you're like, how the heck are they managing all this? Okay. The secret, by the way, is not credit card debt. It's a new lifestyle trend. It's making waves. It's called bougie broke. Essentially, it's all about creating this illusion that you're living a glamorous life, when in reality, you're just finding these savvy online hacks. Like, for example, I posted this in one of our newsletters. Did you know that you can take a milk bottle, and if you hold it a certain way, it almost appears as if you're sitting on a private jet? Yes. So bougie broke, it has gained a lot of traction when TikToker Josh Jacobs posted a video asking, have you ever been broke, but no one believes you're broke because you don't look like you're broke? And he goes on to explain the concept of being broke, and you're a bougie broke. So how are all these TikTokers and Instagrammers and everybody else managing to make their lives appear so rich? Tricks of the trade, like I said. The milk bottle, okay? Peel and stick wallpaper to spruce up their rentals. Serving champagne really cold, even if it's from a carton. Get this, they're actually food dyeing eggs orange to make them appear fresher in pictures. Oh my gosh, yes. People are actually doing this. Maybe they ought to go out and get a job and make more money so that this way they could actually have real money and they wouldn't be bougie broke. Just a thought. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And let's see, Benjamin in Ohio, you're up first.
Well, my wife and I, we've been kind of at a loss here lately. We've been hacked, we believe, and we've been having a lot of trouble here in our home network, keeping it all together. We've been either wrapped or overlaid. New phones that we seem to buy seem to already have the same perpetrators in them. I've bought many routers. We've done everything we could to try to get them out of our systems, and they have found some way to completely overlay my VA account. They've overlaid the apps for my banking accounts, and we're at a loss. I don't know how to get them out now.
So give me just a few examples of what's been going on.
Well, for a small example, I have a bank account with MoneyLion. I had my VA benefits transferred over there to a direct deposit. I got notices from MoneyLion, the app, that I needed to sign up for direct deposit in order to qualify for the benefits. So I went to MoneyLion, and as I was there, they said that my card was deactivated. I call MoneyLion and reactivate my card, and they said it was never deactivated in the first place. So I say, okay, just for safety's sake, let's reactivate it or send me a new card. They would send me a new card, and I would re-download the whole app, update everything, and when I'd do it, it'd go right back to saying that I did never set up my direct deposit through the VA Veterans Association.
Okay.
That's just a small little thing. Like, it started with Samsung of America as well. They started sending me things about arbitration agreements and disagreements and settlements through arbitration agreements with them, and business agreements on a business that I had just started up. I never even talked to them about it. And when I started getting these things, I started getting notices that they were willing to sponsor me and all sorts of other things, but I was never receiving any more letters after those. They'd come to me and then they'd quit, and I'd be blocked out of that Samsung account. I couldn't get in. I haven't been able to access it for a year.
So sometimes, I'm not saying this is the case, Benjamin, sometimes when this is happening is that it's normally somebody who's close to you, somebody who is maybe being a prankster, somebody who's trying to make your life difficult. Do you think there's anybody
in my family, maybe, but I can't really point the fingers in that direction because they've been doing this for so long that they've even claimed to be my dead mom. That hurts.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It's evil.
It's evil.
So, knowing that it may be somebody who's close to you, somebody who is sick among themselves, right?
I've asked the family police, like where I live in the area, the county police, to help me out. And they just seem like they're overwhelmed with the idea of even what I'm saying to them. Like, it couldn't be done.
Well, they are. You know what, Benjamin? They are. They're overwhelmed because of so many people that this type of situation is happening to, that they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. So let me just go through some things. And next time you reset everything, I want you to keep the password to yourself. Okay. Don't share it with anybody in the house. Don't share it with anybody who comes over, okay? Because you said, you reset some routers, but I'm sure that, you changed network names and passwords, and then all this comes because it's somebody who's probably close to you, who has access to all of your devices. So when we talk about buying new devices, I know that it starts adding up because you have to buy a new router and you have to do, make sure that you have a solid password on that router. Again, Benjamin, only you know. That's it. Okay?
And with my wife,
only you know the password to the router.
She just finished this cancer that she had. She had esophageal cancer, and after that had finished, I got my pacemaker installed. And after all that had happened, we are on disability now, and it just seemed like they started targeting our disability or us for something along the lines, I don't know what it was. It was something like they really...
You know what? You're going to sit there all day, Benjamin, and banging your head against the wall trying to figure out why people are evil.
Methods of a madman, right?
Yeah, okay. So let's not even go down that rabbit hole. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to get a life back, and the only way that you're going to do that is by you protecting yourself. Number one, your wife, your kids, and you need to be that person that controls the entire network. So if somebody says, "I need to get this on the network," you say, "You know what? You need to bring that to me." Okay, I will put it on the network. Okay, I will permission a MAC address. So on your router, every device has a MAC address. You only put those devices on that router that you know that are there. You're not giving anybody any free willy anymore with any type of password, because that's just not conductive for anything. So you're going to buy some new devices. You're going to reset the devices. I want you to do a factory reset on all your computers, your phones, your game consoles. It's drastic, but we need you to do that. You want to back up any important data offline, like an external hard drive or into the cloud. Now, when you're setting up your network, we want to make sure that you use WPA3. Change the default logon credentials, your router settings, because all of that stuff is on the internet. Okay? You want to update everything. Do two-factor authentication. And really, you need to monitor your accounts. Okay? Which on your financial, your personal accounts, any unusual activity. I have on all my accounts, if somebody charges over a certain amount, and if somebody accesses an account, that I get an automatic text. Now, you mentioned law enforcement. You might want to reach out to them again. But I don't know. You said you had a suspect. This is sounding to me like somebody around you is trying to screw with you and drive you crazy. Okay, they're succeeding, but we're not going to let them do it anymore. So again, you're going to control your own network and your own destiny. From now on out, Benjamin, anybody wants to put something on that network, you need to do it yourself. We're going to send you a list of everything that I just mentioned so you can walk through this all step by step. And if you need any help afterwards, I'm just right here for you. I'm going to bet $100. $100 it's somebody in his house or somebody who goes to his house or somebody knows him. Ugh, so annoying. All right. How do you remove the background of a photo fast? Okay. You have photo bombers. Well, thankfully, you can now get rid of them in under 5 seconds. Now, if you own an iPhone or an iPad with the latest iOS, there's a built-in tool that removes objects in the background. Just open an image, then tap and hold the part that you want to keep. In this case, it's you. You just want to keep you, right? So the eraser will automatically separate that image from your background. So bye-bye photo bombers. Sweet. Next up, Google Photos. You can easily remove an object from your photos using the magic eraser. Just click on that object and poof, it's gone. It's in the Tools menu in the Google Photos Android or iOS app. But if you're not using a Google Pixel phone, oh, I know, it's a bummer. You have to have a Google One subscription. And speaking of photos, with iOS 17, you can now pull somebody out of a picture and then create a GIF or a GIF, however you want to say it, and then send that to somebody. Super fun. I did that to my son Ian the other day. All right, now we're going to dive into a really busy Reddit community called Am I the A-Hole? It's this energetic cyber nook where people bare their deepest, darkest secrets and they unfold life's captivating instances, all while seeking an answer to who's really to blame. So what's really fun is that the crowd steps in, they cast their votes and perspectives until the ultimate conclusion arises, and they say, am I or am I not an a-hole? So once a week, I deliver a fresh post for your consideration from this busy Reddit forum, and then the judgment falls on your shoulders. Are they or are they not? But wait, there's more, because we always have a special guest contestant ready to take on the challenge and compete for the grand prize of a much coveted Kim Commando Show fanny pack. And joining us this week is Steve in Redding, California. Hello there, Steve.
Hi, Ms. Commando. How are you doing?
I'm great. So here's the deal. I'm going to read you this post off the internet from the forum Am I the A-Hole? And then it's up to you to decide at the end, are they or are they not? Okay, you ready to play?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here's how it goes. So I took a roofer to court about 6 years ago who left my roofing job halfway done, and I won the case. But he hasn't paid me a dime of the almost $4,000 judgment. And I've come to find out that he did the same thing to numerous people, and they took him to court and they won as well. Well, today on the Nextdoor app, I saw him posting and asking people to support a GoFundMe where he's asking for $7,000 to get his dog ACL surgery. Well, here's what I did. I simply put up a post with a not a chance and a screenshot of one of the many pages of public information of court cases that the people have filed against him. He deleted my post, so I posted it again. And now he took it all down, I'm assuming, out of embarrassment to have all of that in view of his neighbors. So I guess I'm wondering, am I the a-hole or not for putting this post when he's asking for a GoFundMe for his dog's surgery? So what do you think, Steve?
I think the person should let it go and just deal with the court system.
So you're saying that they should not have posted it?
Correct.
And why is that?
They just need to let it go and just focus on what they need to focus on to get what they need done. So if they have a court settlement, they need to just focus on getting a court settlement and stop, being vengeful to someone. I know it's annoying, but. Okay.
Well, let's see what the internet decided in this forum. Oh, sorry, Steve, you're wrong. The internet has decided that they are not a hole, because they were saying that, why not do the court of public embarrassment and shame him? And maybe the $7,000 wasn't even for a dog surgery. How do we even know? So, well, you didn't win the fanny pack, but I know you have a question for me, so how can I help out?
Well, I have a daughter starting college, but she's 14, and we are looking for...
Wait, I'm sorry. Your daughter is 14? Wait, back up. Your daughter's 14 and she's starting college? Wow,
well,
that's amazing.
Just a college class.
Okay.
She has a goal of graduating high school and college at the same time. And so I have other children as well who are interested in, or younger, but are interested in doing college classes as well. And we were trying to figure out a good program to help protect them. Like, I know, back in the day there was stuff like Net Nanny and stuff like that. I wasn't sure what we would use or not use. A coworker suggested I set up different accounts for each one on the computer and using the Windows program itself.
The Microsoft Family Safety. Yeah. Microsoft Family Safety is actually pretty good, and it's included with Windows. And what it does allow you to do is to set up different profiles for each of the kids, and then they have different content filters and time settings. You can set age limits for the content. You can limit what websites they can visit. And then what's also nice is that you get weekly reports of their activities. So, if you're just trying to control just the Windows PC, then I'd say, Microsoft Family Safety is a pretty darn good tool. Now, you mentioned Net Nanny. I don't really think that Net Nanny has been keeping up with everything that's been going on, because it doesn't really, in my opinion, cover the, I guess you'd say, the apps and maybe some games, and if the kids have any type of phones. Do the kids have phones?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, you know what? And good for you. You are doing fabulously to have a 14-year-old not hooked on a device yet. But when that time comes, is that, for example, on an iPhone, they really do have some pretty decent parental controls. But I just want to plant a bug in your ear right now, is that there's a program called Custodio, and it does both online activity monitoring. It does screen time management. You can set time limits for specific apps, specific games. It also has strong content filtering tools, and then it can also track your kid's location, and there's an SOS button, all kinds of great things like that. But I'd say I think you're pretty good on the right path right now. And what you want to do is just, set up that Microsoft Family Safety, and then when the time comes, phones, what I'm talking about, just look at Custodio. And Steve, thank you for your call today. Hey, just a quick reminder, we do have the Commando Kids contract. Just head over to commando.com/contract. It kind of goes out the rules of the road with your kids, what they can and cannot do. And it also covers stuff that may be uncomfortable for you to speak to with them directly. And this way you have a document you can refer to. I'm talking about sexting and sharing passwords. Again, it's totally free at commando.com/contract. All right, let's talk about the low-tech way that people are hacking into stolen cell phones. Okay, this is really happening throughout the country. I want you to pay attention, especially if you're going out, because I don't want you to unlock your phone with a passcode in front of strangers. Criminals are taking advantage of folks having a few drinks, going out in the town. They sit next to you, they befriend you, they tell you how beautiful and handsome you are, and they're just waiting for you to tap your code to open your phone. Say, send me a text so I have your phone number, and then bam, they just steal that phone right from your hands. I mean, think about this. A good phone is worth at least $1,000. And once they have your PIN code, your bank account is toast. What's worse, the thief can lock your iPhone using your code. So even if you have a GPS tracker on it like Find My, you can't get in. You can't request help from Apple. You're just out of luck. So number one, when you're out in public, shield your PIN number. And if you really, really need to open your phone in front of anybody, use Face ID. Next, don't use an easy PIN. No 4 digits. It needs to be nice and long. And finally, if you don't want to use Face ID, use a passcode with both numbers and letters if you can. So be really, really careful when you're out and about. All right, Tasha in Michigan.
Well, I have we have a dog sled touring business up here in the North Woods. And
nice.
And as I realized I had one question for you, led me to a whole bunch, but we'll stick to the one question. So our guests, before they come to us, we like to learn a little bit about our guests and have them fill out a waiver. And I was wondering if there is an online service that they could do a digital waiver. Everything's been on paper for the last 20 years that we've used, and I know there's probably something out there that would help us out.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of ways you can do this with waivers. There are some websites that will facilitate this, where you put the waiver up, and then you can put the link in an email. You could put the link on your website. So this way is part of your instructions. So this way you're not, emailing the waiver and then waiting for it to get back, or they show up without the signed waiver, because I'm sure that happens. Okay.
Right.
And then you have to give them the paper and the pen, and you're like, we just want to get the dog sled tour under control. Okay. I mean, let's get it going.
Exactly.
And so a really simple way to do this is to maybe use, there's a couple of ways. Like, they actually have services that specialize in waivers, like Waiver Forever. And they also have a mobile app. So while you're sitting there and you realize and it's 20 degrees below that John didn't sign his waiver, you can pull out your phone and say, here, I need you to sign the waiver right now.
Okay.
And they can also embed waivers on your website, so that this way everybody can sign it in advance. Now, if you don't want to go that route, 1,500 waivers, they charge probably anywhere between $20 and $40 a month. I don't know how many waivers that would include, but I know that's kind of a base price. Now, if you want to do it yourself, there's Google Forms, and you could create a waiver. You could create a custom a questionnaire if that's what you want. But if your waiver is relatively simple, that might be just an easy way for you to do it. And Google Forms, that's where you could have them, again, embed in your website. And just about everybody in the world has a Google account now, so they just be able to just sign in and and get that Google form done. The other thing you might want to consider too is that is to do a DocuSign. Because this is a legal document, I'm inclined to make sure that you have all your P's and Q's. I don't know if you would have that with a Google form. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I can't give you legal advice, but I can just tell you that if people like to sue, you know what I mean? So I would want to make sure that everything was all covered. I broke my toenail on the dog sled. I need $5,000, right? Right. So that's why sometimes it's money well spent not doing it the free way on Google Forms, and maybe using Waiver Forever or DocuSign. We use HelloSign because it's a cheaper alternative than DocuSign. So you might want to look at that. It's not as expensive. But this way you have it all done. And what I like about having it electronically on HelloSign, DocuSign, or Waiver Forever, that if in the unlikely event that something were to happen, is that you have the proof that they signed it, and then you also have their IP address, their date, and their time. And it feels like I'm better organized than if I just have a piece of paper. Make sense?
It does, yes. Stacks of paper in my basement for years at a time. I figured there's got to be a better
what kind
way.
of dogs? So tell me about the dogs.
So we have Alaskan Husky sled dogs, and we've been in business for 20 years, where people can learn to drive their own sled dog team up here.
Wow.
And
what a great time.
Yeah, it's great. And as I had posed the question about the waivers, but I actually had to drive down the road to get cell service, and I think maybe this is the least of my technology problems. But, one question leads to another and that kind of thing. But yeah, so it's a great business. People come from all over to go dog sledding for the winter. It's fantastic. So.
Wow. That's awesome. That's great. And so 20 years, so overnight success. I can see that, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. With no work at all. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and it's just, and the waiver question kind of led me into, if you don't mind, kind of a possibly another question, is like an online booking service. Because I know sometimes those do the waivers in there. And do you have a suggestion for online booking? We've never gone that route.
You know what? I'd have to do some research.
Okay.
Because I'd want to find something. I'd want to find something specific for you. Because what's happened now in the whole software as a service industry is that they've become really specialized.
Okay.
So if you were running a winery, that you have a special package just for wineries. You know, if you're running a bicycle tour company, that there's some type of booking platform for bicycle tour companies. I mean,
Right.
I don't know if there's one for dog sledding, but I bet you there's one for outdoor adventures. And
Right.
so what I don't want to do is say, oh, this is the greatest one, when I haven't done enough homework. And I want to make sure that whatever I say and whatever information that I pass along and whatever recommendation that I can make is that it's always the best. So if you would indulge me with some time, Tasha, I'll do some homework and then we'll put this in one of our free newsletters. And you can get our newsletters over at getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. We answer a listener question, a reader question every single day. So we'll put this on the list to get this done over the next couple of weeks. And Tasha, thank you so much for your call. It always feels so good when I help somebody out. You know the drill. You go to the supermarket. You want that sale price? All right, you have to give them your data. Okay, these smartphone apps, they make purchasing really simple, but it comes at a cost, and that's your privacy. And so many grocery stores are now ditching the physical cards for these apps. But what if you don't want to really download an app? Well, then you're missing out, because if you don't participate in the loyalty programs, what they say in research is that you're going to pay as much as 3 times more for a single item. And over time, that can totally add up. So if you want discounts without the footprint, look for stores that don't require loyalty programs. I'm talking about Trader Joe's and Walmart and Target. I mean, everyone wants the lowest price. Number 2, I know it's kind of old, but look for physical coupons. A lot of grocery stores have physical coupons still available, but they're actually on their website. But you have to print, snip, and then you have to hand them in. Number 3, ask for the discount anyway. Behind the counter, these cashiers, they usually have a code to charge the digital price without you needing to have a loyalty app or a code. And so, for example, I always do this when I go shopping. I'm like, you know what? Oh, I don't remember what my code is, and I don't remember the phone number it's tied with. Can I use your code? And I'm telling you, 100% of the time, they always say yes, because that's just another data point that I don't think we need to be tracking. And these are the type of tips, by the way, that we pass along every single day with our free newsletters. And I'm so thrilled for all the positive feedback that we've been getting. And thank you for all your kind words. Because if you used to get our newsletters and you're like, oh, they're awful, Kim Komando. Yeah, they used to be awful. They were, I admit it. But they're not awful anymore. I assure you, you're going to love them. Head over to getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. And then there's only 2 newsletters that we're sending out right now. You get the tech news of the day in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you get a digital life hack. That's all. And there's only one advertiser, and everything that you need to read is all self-contained in the newsletter. So that's what's really terrific about it. So sign up at getkim.com. And by the way, if you already get the newsletters, I want you to check the bottom, because there's a referral link. And that referral link means that as you send that out and more of your friends sign up, you earn prizes, even an iPad. So once again, sign up at getkim.com. That's getkim.com.
Here is hour 3.
Hey, let's kick things off with something super interesting. A homeowner in Lake County, Illinois, isn't exactly thrilled about Google's satellites just snapping pics of their house. So they had a plan. They painted "Watch Porn, Not Me" in giant white letters right on the roof. Okay, and they said, well, that's going to send a message to any Google Maps explorers. Don't look at this house. Well, here's the deal. As you might expect, the reason why I'm talking about it is that the plan backfired big time. Some Facebooker spots the house on Google. They say, oh, it's so funny. They post a screenshot of it in a group for satellite image junkies. And then just boom, that image goes viral. I looked at it, a few 100,000 likes in just the last few days. Now everyone's looking at this guy's house. So here's the thing. If you really want privacy, Google lets you blur your home's image on the satellite. To do it, just head over to Google Maps, locate your house, and then click on Report a Problem, and then adjust that red box to cover your house and choose My Home. Again, under Google Maps, Report a Problem, and then it's under My Home. But speaking of satellites, I just really hate satellites. You know why? They're just a complete waste of space. Oh, yeah, that was a great one. And on that happy note, I saw you smile. It's called The Kim Komando Show because I just happen to be America's beloved digital goddess, Kim Komando, here with you once again. And thanks for jumping on the Komando Tech train because every single thing is now a tech thing. And if you're a brand new listener, so glad that you found us. And if you listen to us all the time, welcome back. Love to see that smiling face. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top radio stations across the United States. And we're streaming as a podcast, as a webcast, commercial-free, over inside the Komando community. In case you want to check it out, head over to Komando.com, and there's a big, bright, happy, shiny yellow button that says Komando Community. And a special hello goes out to all of our listeners in the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries who are joining us for this show on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women. Love you guys and gals. And in case you have a few questions about something digital that you need some help with, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. Alrighty, every single day I go to at least 30 different websites to make sure that we're both up to date on what's going on in the tech universe. And here are 5 things that are happening right now about tech you need to know about. And we're going to start with that little white and blue bird, yes, tweets. For more than a decade, Twitter itself has been a part of our lives. Now, I don't know if you heard, but Elon Musk rebranded Twitter as X. Yes, that's his favorite letter. He has a son named X and a daughter named Y, and he wants to turn it into a everything app, a super app. And it's just one app that you're going to do all your banking with, your shopping and your social media. So you just go to one app. Now, this is not just his genius idea. They have this app in China. It's the biggest Chinese super app. It's called WeChat. And it's from a mega company called Tencent. And it has over 1.3 billion users. Wow. Could you imagine? 1.3 billion folks on an app. It's an instant messaging app, and you can sell stuff on there. You can bank. You can buy things. You can do whatever you want. You can write notes. It's crazy. Elon says that people basically live on WeChat in China because it's so useful and helpful. I mean, wouldn't he love that type of power? But I think he's forgetting one important thing, right? The Chinese government runs the internet in China. The Chinese have limited options when it comes to all this social media. But speaking of Twitter, did you know that the Golden Gate Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge have Twitter accounts? Yeah, that's right. They're both suspended. Oh, yeah. Okay, that wasn't the best one, but I did see you kind of smirk. All right, moving on to number 2. It's a car, it's a plane, it's everything. We've been talking about flying cars forever, haven't we? Well, that dream may not be too far off. The extremely luxurious Aska A5 flying car has just received the green light from both the FAA and the DMV. Now, it's a 4-seater vehicle. It looks about the size of, say, a medium SUV. They say it has 250 miles of range. It can zip through the sky at around 150 miles per hour. And it has the ability to take off and land vertically. So, yes, we're actually talking about a flying car that you and I can buy. Well, not yet. It's been approved for testing. It has all the standard security features of a car. It has airbags. It also has child seat tethers, crumple zones, and, yes, it's a plane. But guess how much the flying car is? Come on, just say it out loud. Guess how much the flying car is. Is it $100,000, $200,000, $500,000? You ready? $750,000. Wow, $750,000. I don't think I'm going to be getting one of those. I'm a car gal. I'm not a car plane gal. All right, moving on to number 3. Are you really old enough to play that video game? There's an outfit out there called the ESRB. It's the Entertainment Software Rating Board. And this is the outfit that assigns age and ratings to consumer video games in the United States and Canada. And they want to take this a step further. They want to scan your kids' faces in order for them to play some mature, violent games, adult-only games. They say they're going to create a way for verifiable parental consent. It's called the Privacy Protective Facial Age Estimation. Who names all this junk anyway? Okay, wow. So basically, the whole idea is that the kid's going to take a selfie, and AI is going to say whether or not that kid is old enough to have that video game. All right, here we go again. Passing off the parental responsibilities to some outfit who's going to be capturing pictures of our kids when really this is a parent's job, okay? I know it's not fun. I had a kid who loved Xbox, and I used to have to sit there and look at him and go, okay, a video game with a felony in the title is one that you're just not going to be playing. Talking about Grand Theft Auto. And of course, eventually he did get it, but it's when I felt he was ready for it, not for when some outfit says that they are by scanning the kid's picture. Crazy stuff. Moving on to number 4. Wouldn't it be just fantastic if you could see that new couch, shelf, or ottoman's going to look in your room before you're buying it? Well, Wayfair, that's right, the big online furniture retailer. They have a brand new AI app I want to tell you about. It's called Decorify, and it lets you see your space in new styles with all that new furniture. You just take a snapshot of your room, upload it to the app, and that will show your space, but decked out all these different styles. You have industrial, modern, crazy modern, bohemian. And then, of course, it's going to direct you to similar stuff that they have for sale because why are they putting out the app? To make money, of course. Right now, it's just supported for living room spots, but basically, they're going to be adding bedrooms and playrooms and any other type of kitchen, whatever it is, into the app. In case you want to check it out, it's called Decorify. It's from Wayfair. All right, finally, this coming in at number 5. Have you seen the stunning? Oh my gosh, she is so beautiful. I'm talking about a beautiful blonde influencer just making the rounds all over Instagram. I mean, I don't think I've seen a woman more beautiful than this supermodel. Mila Sofia, she's 19 years old, a Finnish fashion model and influencer. She goes to Greece and Bora Bora. She hangs out on $1 million yachts. She has hundreds of thousands of followers. Now, here's the deal. If you have seen Mila, you have fallen in love with her. She's not real. She's been totally generated by AI. Her website says she's AI generated, but she's still fooling people because they're not checking it out. Some comments that I've seen. It doesn't get any better than this. Or how about this one? You look marvelous, amazing, pretty, beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, and breathtaking in that white bikini. Of course she does. She's AI. Or how about this one? Mila, you definitely rank among the most beautiful woman ever. Ever. It was in all caps and said multiple times. Okay. Mila would probably look real to you too, but there are some signs. Number 1, she has no pores. Okay. Her face looks a little off. She takes pictures in front of the same background. So if you are really hot to trot for Mila Sofia, and there are probably others of them that aren't as popular on Instagram just popping up, just know that that's not really reality, folks. It's all fake. It's all AI. And I know what you're thinking, too. I could be a model, Kim Commando. That's right. I could be a model. I could be a fitness model. I could be the before photo. All right, picture this. You're at a concert. You have the thump of the bass, the cheer of the crowd. For most of us, these are the sounds that captivate and make this experience unforgettable. But what happens if you can't hear these sounds? For people who are deaf or hard of hearing, attending a concert is pretty tough. I mean, their delight doesn't come from the auditory experience. It comes from really the vibrations. So when Daniel Belkier was approached to join a team at a place called Not Impossible Labs, love that name, by the way, he said, there's got to be a better way. And what if we hold balloons to capture vibrations, turn speakers towards the ground? How can we make these sensations even better? So that's why the entire team at Not Impossible Labs, they created something called the haptic suit. All right, to tell us more about the suit and how they pulled this off is Daniel himself. Hello there, Daniel.
Hi. How are you, Kim?
Thanks for being here. So I'm super excited because I had a chance to watch some of the videos over at the Lincoln Center in New York with these people wearing these suits. And I thought, gosh, this is just so incredible. Let's start at the beginning. Tell us about the suit itself.
Okay, so this suit is actually, a vest, 2 wrist and 2 ankle bands. We have 24 points, spread across the body, and each point can be vibrated individually, to create a more compelling musical experience for the deaf. And also for people who hear, they enjoy the experience a lot as an augmented musical experience.
So how does the suit know to vibrate?
So we have several ways of doing this. The most basic thing that goes back in the initial days, because this project's been going on since 2014, evolving. We basically grab the different instruments from the mixer, on a venue. And then I have somebody we call the Vibro DJ, just tweaking, the knobs and making it, changing the placement on the instruments across the body according to the style of the song. Sometimes you have like a piano and voice, sometimes it's a full orchestra, sometimes it's like a rock and roll band. So we change it according to whatever it is, and it's all done in real time. It's a very interesting experience.
So how long did it take to put together this suit? Because you mentioned 2014.
Yes, correct. So it's been almost a decade, developing this technology. So the current version of the technology was done actually with the support of, Avnet. They helped us get to this point. So this version was created in 2018. But since then, I have been evolving the software, other applications, having, other composers creating for the suits, because we also can have the vibrations being composed in advance and then going in tandem with the music or video content. It's.
So, no pun intended, what kind of feedback do you get from folks that are wearing the suits?
People get really, really excited about the whole concept, because it's very surprising. We have people saying, I never imagined the experience would feel like this. It's way better than expected and all, because for us it was very important that this wasn't just a gimmicky thing, like shaking people up, like an amusement park thing. It was more of like a layered experience that would have, real artistic and emotional value. So that's what we've been really pushing the boundaries of the technology to represent a tool for emotional experiences and connection, in between like different types of people with, not all of the hearing levels, regardless if you're deaf, if you're hearing, if you're hard of hearing, you can enjoy the experience equally.
So are there any other venues aside from Lincoln Center, or is there something that somebody could buy at home that would kind of replicate this experience?
We still, don't have a consumer experience for people to take it, to home. But we are doing a series of events in several, countries and places in the U.S. So we have, things happening in New York, not only in Lincoln Center, in Philadelphia, in Los Angeles. We do things here and there. We are doing an event in Japan for the second year in a row. We have events in Australia, in England, in Germany, in France, in Brazil. Like we are.
That's awesome.
We're Canada. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So where's your website so folks can learn more about this and see it in action?
Yeah, musicnotimpossible.com. You can find all the information there.
Well, I think it's incredible what you guys and gals are doing with the technology for the deaf, and thank you so much for being here. All right, let's switch gears just a little bit. Your fancy smartwatch can track your heart rate, your steps, your calories, even how much water you're drinking. It's all great for your health, but what about your mind? Apple's latest updates, which are available in beta iOS 17, it has a new app called Mindfulness. Now, recording your emotions, they say, can enhance your overall well-being, and research is backing this up. The Journal of Medical Internet Research has said that folks who monitor your moods, that you are more self-aware, you have a higher emotional intelligence. So in case you want to check it out now, just go to beta.apple.com and you can download the beta version of iOS 17. And then there's a mindfulness app. And I'll tell you something, I started using it and I found out that I'm just overall always happy. I am always happy. Isn't that crazy? And joining us right now on the Kim Komando Show is our amazing content queen, Allie Seligman. Hello there, Allie.
Hi, Kim.
So, wow, I saw that email that you got.
Yeah.
At least, you know what? At least people are listening. That's the thing.
True. Yeah.
Okay. Whenever any feedback is sometimes good feedback. And in case you missed this whole segment that we're going to be talking about, is that Allie, you did this whole segment about mispronunciations of tech terms. And there are some other words that people mispronounce. Like how would you say this word, Allie? You ready?
Yeah.
Nuclear. Nuclear. How would you say that?
Nuclear.
Okay. Nuclear. Okay. Yeah. Some people say nuclear.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Okay. How about this word? Okay. I should have, we didn't rehearse any of this, so I'm sorry, I'm just throwing it at you. Ready? SHERBET. SHERBET.
Oh, man. It's sherbet. Sherbet.
You're right. Yes,
yeah, it's not sherbet.
Not sherbet. It's sherbet.
Yes.
Sherbet, right? And so this email that you received, why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, this was from our pal Denise in Georgia. And I will say, this was the nicest of the emails we received about this. So Denise listened. She said, I believe the lady who is telling us how to pronounce words, I'm that lady, mispronounced the word often. It is often, no T in the dictionary, it's often in the dictionary. The T is silent. Why do they bother putting in letters in words if they are supposed to remain silent? I'm with you, Denise. Apparently I said often. It is often. And thank you for pointing this out. I'm going to go on the record and say silent T is really dumb. I don't know. I guess I'm going to start saying like ballette, Liston. Like, let's just really go for it on the T. But again, for the record, it is often, not often.
We all flub words. I mean, here I am doing this show for 20 odd years, right? And oh my gosh, Allie, I woke up to like the nightmare email. One of our biggest stations is WTOP in Washington, D.C. And apparently I said the word HEIRLOOM in a Daily Tech Update. Mm-hmm. I said it as heirloom.
Oh, no.
It's a heirloom. It's like, like a barrette. No. And it's heirloom. Heirloom.
Sometimes you're just moving quick. It happens. Happens to the best of us.
So what's on your mind today?
Reddit is on my mind. There is a subreddit I love. It is called You Should Know. And as the name implies, people are posting things there that either they wish they had known sooner, maybe little tidbits that they've shared with people that have like kind of blown their minds. And so they take to this subreddit to post them. And I found some good tech related ones that you should know. Kim, you probably already know them, but everyone else should know. Okay, we've got 5. The last one is my favorite because it's going to keep you from getting really embarrassed one day, I promise. Number 1, you can reach 911, usually, even if your phone has no service or it's in roaming mode. This is really cool because emergency calls should go through even if you don't have a SIM card in the phone. And this is because every cellular network is required to process emergency calls. So even if it's not your cell network, another one will pick up the call and transfer you to emergency services.
Yeah, so, that's really great for all these people that have phones sitting in just their desk drawers.
Totally.
And it's something that, you can just make sure it has a charge and throw it in your car or wherever, and then this way you can always have emergency service available.
Absolutely. And a reminder, if you have an old phone that you gave to a kid and you thought, I took out the SIM card, it's fine, they can't call anybody, they can still call 911. So teach your kid about that.
Exactly. That's a good one. That's one that's going to help a lot of people. What do you have next?
What about when you drop your phone in water? There is one thing you should do immediately, and this is going to prevent a lot of the damage. Turn it off. Yes, don't throw it in rice on. You need to turn your phone off because the longer you keep it running, the more chances things are going to malfunction. You're going to, burn things out. So really what's happening there is the water is messing with those components because they're powered on. So turn your phone off and don't get impatient here. You have to leave it off for a while. Give it at least 24 hours. Of course, you're going to be tempted to turn on your phone after 20 minutes. Like, is it ruined? But that is when you ruin it. So give it some time, and that's your best bet for saving your phone if you get it wet.
Well, I was by the pool with Abby, so I'm totally going to blame Abby on this. And I was holding my phone, and then she jumped on me, and I almost fell in the pool. And Abby is not a child. Well, she's as big as a child. She's 95 pounds.
She's a big dog.
Yes. Okay. All right. I weigh 120. So we're not too far apart from each other,
Yeah,
right?
seriously.
And so my phone goes in the pool. So then Barry's like, and I can't go in the water because I still have this cornea transplant. I'm not supposed to get the eye wet, right? So Barry jumps in, pulls my phone in. And then I remembered on my phone, I didn't turn it off right away because I had that shortcut on there. And there's a shortcut that when you drop your phone in water is that it will go ahead and push out all the water that's in the speakers.
So cool. Yeah.
So if you don't have a direct access to that, absolutely turn your phone off and then throw it in the rice or the silica packs or whatever you want to do. But, some people say that rice trick doesn't work, but it has worked for me. Have you tried that?
I have done the rice, but, I bet in a lot of cases, people turn off their phone and stick it in the rice. And I'd be willing to bet it's just as much about having the phone off as the rice actually doing anything.
That's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. All right, those two are great. So far you're like, you're at a 10 out of 10 for both of those. What do you have next?
Okay, let's hope I can keep it up. Okay, this is one that I have actually used several times. You should know that you can search for some of the articles that come up in your Apple News feed that have a paywall, and you can read them for free on the actual website. This happens with us a lot, Kim, because you will share a story and say, oh, Allie, I found this great story for the newsletter. It's an Apple News link. I open it. Oh, paywall, because I don't have Apple News Plus. And so I search for the headline. It takes me to the website where that story originally came from. And most of the time, I can read it for free there. There is no paywall. Or it's one of those like, this is your third free article out of 10 or whatever it is. So if you get paywalled on a news aggregator, just try searching the headline, and I bet you'll find it on the original website.
Yeah, 100%. 100% you will. Alrighty. What do you have next?
Okay, two more. This is a security-related one. When you get that pop-up that says, accept all cookies or reject all cookies, most of us probably click reject all most times. But according to Reddit, you should know that choosing reject all does not actually reject all cookies. This is pretty tricky because there's a workaround where basically advertisers lobbied to say, reject all, we think we can still get some things in there. And they do. So this is a loophole, basically, in GDPR, which is where all this cookie stuff comes from. So when you click reject all, something is okayed called legitimate interest cookies. And this is essentially advertising. So that button doesn't do exactly what we think, eh?
Yeah, well, the advertisers are always going to get there. All right, we're coming short on time. So you have your last one, which I think is probably going to be your best one.
You should know. If you are taking a phone call on your car's Bluetooth, everyone walking by your car can hear what you're saying. Seriously. You know this if you've ever been in a parking lot before, but if you're ever on a private phone call, a sensitive phone call, perhaps you're talking to your doctor or your spouse, or you're saying something that you don't want the whole world to hear, be careful, because that speaker in your car is really loud outside the car, and you're not going to know it because you're in the car having the conversation. One little tip, if you are going to be, in a parking lot or somewhere quiet having a convo, turn down the speaker. You probably have it cranked up from when you were driving, when you needed it a lot louder. So turn that down, because everyone just heard you tell your doctor about that rash or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I got a rash. All right. This is great stuff, Allie. I know you're going to be putting them inside of our free newsletters over at getkim.com. Wonderful stuff. Thanks for being here. That's awesome. All right. Just when I was talking to Allie, our amazing content queen, I just briefly mentioned our newsletters. And if you're not getting our newsletters, let me tell you, you need to. Okay, I'm just saying that. You need to at least try it. And if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. But I think you're going to love it. I mean, if I look at all the reviews that we've been getting, almost 40,000 this morning, thumbs up, and about 800 thumbs down. That's a big spread. I mean, from the people who love it and the people who don't like it. And so every morning you're going to get the latest tech news. I get up at 5 a.m. to make sure that I go through all the news wires and just to make sure that you're up to date. And then in the afternoon, it's different. You get a digital life hack and maybe some news about product updates or recalls. And so again, in the morning, you're going to get a whole tech news roundup with the top story and some other things. In the afternoon, it's a digital life hack. And so do it now. Head over to getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. The newsletters are absolutely free. We're not going to sell, lease, distribute your email address to anybody ever. Don't worry about that. And again, that's getkim.com. All right, Bob in Philadelphia.
Hi, Kim. Greetings from the mushroom capital of the world, Kennett Square.
Fabulous. What's going on, my man?
I've been listening to you for years on WILM in Delaware, and I've learned so much from you. I can't tell you how much I've learned. And plus, your dad jokes are the best. My family,
thank you.
I repeat your jokes to my family, and they say, "Oh, Grandpa, another dad joke."
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. So, how can I lend a hand today?
Well, I organize a group of guys playing tennis. I'm 79, and my group of tennis players, there's 12 of us, range in the 70s and 80s. And I make this...
Awesome.
Yes, thank you. And I make this spreadsheet schedule. It's for 2 months at a time. We play 5 days a week, and everybody will play 1 or 2 or 3 times a week. So it's kind of a complicated schedule to make. And I send it to them in an email in a PDF format. And, being 70 and 80 years old, they lose the emails, they lose the schedule. They're constantly trying to find their schedule when they're going to play. So there's a lot of texting and emailing back and forth, who's playing for who, and it gets quite confusing. And there's a lot of times we end up with only 3 players. So what I had a thought was if I could have a web page that the only thing on the web page was the schedule. So they have an easy access web page to a website called maybe something like geezertennis.org or something. That they'd never forget that, and then they could see when they're supposed to play. But it's not cheap to have a website, and it's a little complicated. I'm pretty handy with a computer. I'm kind of like the go-to guy in the neighborhood, but I've never done anything.
Well, let me ask you a
like
question. So how you're doing it now in a Word doc and spreadsheet, and then you're saving it as a PDF? How are you doing this?
I started years and years ago in Excel, and now I've converted to Apple about 10 years ago. So it's in a numbers format, but not everybody has Apple. So I convert it, export it to PDF, and that's what I send them, a PDF.
Okay, we're going to make your life so much easier. You're going to love this. Right. Okay. All right, we're not going to make you build a website, okay? We're not going to make you do PDFs anymore. We're not going to make you email anybody anything, okay? So what you have, we're not going to use numbers. We're going to use Google Sheets because you already have it in a spreadsheet. So you're going to get a free Google account and use Google Sheets, okay?
Okay.
So this way, it's going to work the same way. So you can list the dates, the match pairings on the sheet, and then you can share it with the players. So the only thing that you need to share with them is this address for the Google Sheet. So they can look at it any single day that they want, have as many times. They can check it for updates. You don't have to email them anything. You just say, look at the Google Sheet. And then they should have the address. You're not going to have to give them the address 1 month and then a new address the next month. They're just going to have that one Google address, okay? So the only thing they need to do is check the Google Sheet for updates. But the link is going to be the same even as you update all the information, okay? So the only thing you're going to have to do is just create that Google Sheet and then share it with everybody else that is on the tennis team. All you have to do is create the Google Sheet and then share it with anybody else who is participating with the match. And then they don't have to worry about getting a new PDF. They just have to always look at that same Google Sheet address. Now, if you want to use Google Calendar, you could do it that way. It may be a little bit easier because then they can see a calendar view and then they're always going to get the up-to-date schedule. But either way, the only thing that is required is that all your players have Google accounts, but these are free and they probably already have one already. So again, you're going to make a Google Sheet, you're going to share it out, and when you share it, you have different options. One is a commenter, one is an editor, one is a viewer. So you want to make sure that you always remain the editor and then you only share it out so that they're viewers so they can't make the changes themselves. Bob, thank you so much for your call today. And yeah, use all those dad jokes and you don't even need to give me credit. So let's say you're out with your family and friends, you're at this festival, you're just having a great time, and suddenly you're separated from your group and you're just like in this sea of people and you have no clue where anybody else is located. Yes, your smartphone and Google Maps is going to save the day. Now, to find your friends, what you do is you're going to drop a pin of your exact location on Google Maps, and then you're going to share that through a text. It's super easy to do. First, make sure that your location is turned on and it's accurate. You want to find that blue dot on a map, and that will represent your location. Just give it a little tap. Okay, that'll bring up your location details. And then, here's where the magic is. There's a button that says Share Your Location. Just simply click on that button, and you'll be prompted to choose how long you want to share your location and which app you want to share it through. After that, just pick the person that you want to share it with, hit send, and then your friends are going to receive an instant notification with a link to your real-time location on Google Maps. So next time, don't panic, just drop a pin. And you can find me 24/7 at commando.com.